OpenAI just admitted that one of its own AI models broke out of a controlled test environment and hacked a real company on its own with nobody directing it. The model was being scored on how good it was at hacking, running with its safety limits switched off inside of an environment that was supposed to be sealed off from the internet. Well, it got out anyways, and experts are treating this as a milestone, a moment they're telling each other to remember, and a sign of exactly where AI and cybersecurity are heading. The company it broke into was Hugging Face, the platform where much of the AI world shares and hosts its models and datasets, and the break-in, well, that's only half of it. What happened when Hugging Face tried to fight back is the part that's dividing the industry, and here's the whole thing from start to finish. This all played out over a single weekend inside of OpenAI. Like every major AI lab, they routinely run their models through internal evaluations to measure how capable the models are getting, and this round was scoring one specific benchmark called Exploit Gym. Exploit Gym measures a model's offensive hacking ability. It's a library of nearly 900 real-world software vulnerabilities, and to score on it, a model has to take one of those flaws and turn it into a real break-in, actually pulling off the attack and not just describing how to do it. During these tests, two models were used in the mix. We have GPT 5.6 Sol, which anybody can use today, and an unreleased, even more capable model that OpenAI hasn't named yet. To see the true ceiling of what these models can do, OpenAI ran the evaluation, in their words, with reduced cyber refusals. The safety filters that normally make a model refuse these types of requests, well, those were switched off. And they kept everything inside of a sealed sandbox, cut off from the internet, except for one narrow channel, a connection for downloading software packages. To solve the benchmark, the model needed access to the open internet, the one thing that the sandbox was built to prevent. But it found a way anyways. It started with a single connection to the outside, which was the proxy that the sandbox used to download software packages. OpenAI states in its report that the model identified and exploited a zero-day vulnerability in the package registry cache proxy, a flaw that the vendor didn't even know existed. With that foothold, the model escalated its privileges inside of OpenAI's research environment and moved laterally from one system to the next until it reached the node with internet access. Once online, it inferred that Hugging Face, which hosts a huge share of the world's AI models and datasets, likely stored the benchmark solutions on its servers. So it broke into Hugging Face's production system and pulled the solutions straight from the company's database. The report says the models were hyper-focused on finding a solution to the benchmark. Breaking into a live company was simply the most direct path to it. Inside of OpenAI, the security team already noticed that the activity didn't add up. Over at Hugging Face, their defenders, human and AI, caught the intrusion hitting their infrastructure, cut it off, and were already deep into containment and forensics by the time the two companies compared notes. What makes this so groundbreaking is that this is the first attack that we know of that was carried out autonomously by AI. No hacker picked the target, and nobody aimed it at Hugging Face. The model worked out the entire attack on its own, just trying to solve the test. We've seen AI help with attacks before, but this is the first documented case of AI breaking into a real company entirely on its own, finding brand new zero-day vulnerabilities and getting into live systems. The threat people have been warning about in theory just happened for real, but the breach itself is only half of what's got the industry talking. Once the attack was contained, Hugging Face still had to figure out exactly what the model had done, and that meant sorting through more than 17,000 automated actions it had fired off in a single weekend. So they did what a growing number of companies now do. They turned to AI to reconstruct the attack, and that's where they hit a wall. When they reached for the top commercial models to help, the models refused. Analyzing an attack means feeding the model a real exploit and malicious code and commands, and the safety filters couldn't tell the difference between a defender studying an attack and the attacker running one. Hugging Face says their requests were blocked by the provider's safety guardrails, which cannot distinguish an incident responder from the attacker. So they fell back on an open source model that they can run on their own hardware, which was GLM 5.2, a Chinese open weight model, and that one worked. And this is the part that people can't get over. The attacking AI, with its safety limits switched off, had no restrictions at all, while the AI meant to defend followed every rule, which is exactly why it wouldn't help. As Hugging Face puts it, the attacker was bound by no usage policy, while our own forensic work was blocked by the guardrails of the closed work by the models they tried first. That asymmetry drops straight into the debate now, splitting the industry. How open should these models really be? Hugging Face co-founder Thomas Wolfe argues defenders need wide access to near-frontier tools within hours or even minutes, not a slow, closed-door application process. CEO Clem Dulaine makes another argument, and he says AI safety won't be solved by any single company working in secret. It will be solved in the open with broad access to AI for every defender. Others are more cautious and say that those guardrails exist so that hacking ability doesn't just spread to everyone. And OpenAI's answer is really a middle path, a vetted, trusted access program which Hugging Face is now a part of. And the open path isn't clear either. The model Hugging Face reached for is Chinese-made, which in the middle of an emergency trades one set of concerns for another. Now, some security experts sidestep the entire open versus closed question entirely, arguing that the real fix is architecture, building systems that no single AI attacker or defender can reach that far past in the first place. So where exactly does this leave us? Well, with two arguments the industry is now weighing. One side says defenders can't keep up with the pace of machine speed attacks unless they have access to the strongest tools. The others say that these tools are too dangerous to hand out to everyone, so access should be controlled. Both points are real, and this incident kicked off a debate I'm sure we're going to see play out for a while.